This is The Wheel Weaves, a Wheel of Time podcast with no spoilers. Hey everyone, I'm your host Dani, and I'm the first-time reader going through this series chapter by chapter. As always, there's no spoilers past the chapter we're covering, and that means it's totally safe for first-time readers. I'm joined by my co-host Brett, who's a longtime fan, and he's guiding me on this journey. We'd like to thank and acknowledge our executive producers, Brandy and Kirkwood, Sean McGuire, Yanis, LightBlindedFool, Green Man, Deyvis, Ferreira, Margaret, Big C, Bennett Williamson, Dylan C, Hannah Green, Noralia, Geof, Searles, Erik Reed, Greysin, Ishara, Ashlee Bradley, and Laura Lewis. And before we get into things today, we just want to thank and welcome Vidar to the Wheel Weaves Patreon team. Thank you so much for your generosity and support. We really, truly appreciate it. In this episode, we are talking about chapters 33 and 34 of The Gathering Storm.
Yeah, chapter 33 is A Conversation with the Dragon, and chapter 34 is Legends.
Yep, it is.
Now, this is pretty solid because you got a follow-up to last chapter.
I did get a follow-up.
That's what you wanted.
I did, yeah.
But also, I'm pretty sure you lose points because you got something pretty wrong.
About what? Oh, that we're already automatically in Camelin?
No, not that. Because when we left Matt last time,
yes,
it was like, oh, there's a person handing out pictures, and you were like, oh, it's definitely a dark friend. We're going to go do that or whatever.
Well,
and, it's...
I don't know if Varen's a dark friend.
Yeah, well, it's just like, that's not what you said, okay? So I think you lose points.
Could be what I said.
How?
Varen could be a dark friend who hands out pictures looking for Matt and Perrin.
Well, okay, like adjacent. That's not the point, okay?
It is. It's literally
it's not the point. I still think you lose.
Loophole.
I think you lose points.
No, I don't want to lose.
Okay, well, that's fine. We can talk about that when we get there. Mm-hmm. But they're two shorter chapters, too. But a lot of information packed in here.
Yep.
And an opportunity for, I think, everyone's favorite fun fact. A second iteration of it.
Okay.
Poop Facts 2.0.
Yeah, about bats.
Featuring bat guano.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? You should have asked me. I was going to guess you were going to do a fun fact. I was listening and I was like, oh, guaranteed Brett looked up bat guano and he's doing a fun fact on that.
Which is funny because I went through like 3 different options before I landed on bat guano.
And for sure you're like, yep, that's the one.
It has to be.
It has to be.
Okay, so here we go. Mining caves for bat guano in order to make gunpowder is absolutely a thing.
Yeah.
So that is real. Gunpowder and other explosive materials have been produced from bat guano. And apparently in the US, bat guano has been harvested from caves as early as the 1780s to manufacture gunpowder. And it also has good properties to be used in fertilizer. So it does make sense.
Well, that's because it's poop.
Yeah, well, and it does make sense why there's a town in the Wheel of Time that they talk about where it's like in the mountains to mine it because it's bat caves.
Bat caves.
All right, so pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Now, bat droppings retain unique properties that allow for the production of what's called saltpeter. And saltpeter, also known as potassium nitrate, is a nitrogen-containing compound used in common technologies like fireworks and rocket propellants because it's highly flammable. And it's so flammable, in fact, that it has been used for ammunition itself. So, Matt is looking at a list of ingredients for a Ludra, and he sees charcoal, sulfur, and bat guano. And those are the 3 ingredients that make big explosions.
Yeah.
So there's actually like real stuff in here. Pretty cool.
And he's like, that's actually super boring.
Yeah.
And who cares?
No
wonder the Illuminators kept this secret because it's not magical at all. It's just poop and paper.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Nailing it. So, here's the thing. You want to know what the biggest guano disaster is in the real world?
Oh my gosh.
Excluding the shocking amount of wars and invasions over guano mining operations that I read about. Like, there's a whole lot.
Well, I would believe that.
Yeah, but okay, so biggest guano disaster besides all the terrible things. In Arizona, there's a bat cave mine called Bat Cave Mine that was used for guano extraction, and the U.S. Guano Corporation bought the property in 1958 for $3.5 million, which is approximately $40 million today, to make it operational, but the actual deposits of guano were about 1% of what was predicted, so the mine was shut down in 1960, 2 years later. Not enough poop.
Oh, that's a disaster.
It's a disaster. Yeah, it's like $40 million down the drain. It's crazy.
Well.
Yeah.
You win some, you lose some.
Exactly, yeah.
In business, you gotta spend money to make money.
Or lose money. I don't know. I'm not sure.
You have to spend money first.
It's also good because...
And then one day you might make some.
It's called Bat Cave Mine. and it's a vacuum.
There's always risks. How many more things can I say?
That's it. We can continue now. Yeah.
Yeah, the explosion part's a little more interesting and devastating.
Right.
I don't care if the U.S. government loses money, turns out.
It's not the U.S. government. The U.S. Guano Corporation or whatever.
U.S. Guano
Yeah.
Association.
Yeah, something like that.
I'm sorry, you guys.
You ruined it.
You know what? Now I'm feeling bad for them.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe you should.
I'm feeling bad for them in
Probably not, though.
60.
Yeah.
When they're like, oh no, these bats don't poop enough.
It's like, what went wrong here? Did we not send somebody in to go look at the amount of poop?
Did they scare all the bats away? The bats all moved out?
You know, I didn't
do
that much research, and I don't know if bats, like, move out of places.
Well, they, like, find different homes if it's like, this one's all full of people.
They keep these weird people are collecting my poop.
Yeah.
I also would leave. Okay.
Okay. Chapter 33 is called A Conversation with the Dragon, and it goes just about exactly as you would think it's gonna go.
Does it, though?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It does.
All right.
It goes pretty much, like, I'm not surprised by much.
Yeah, okay.
That happened
that's
in this chapter.
That's fair.
If you were to say, okay, Nynaeve tells Rand about what happened here, and that's this chapter, I'd be like, cool, and I probably wouldn't even have to read it.
Okay,
you know?
We're going to pull some more stuff out of it here.
No, I know, yeah. Oh, there's a couple little interesting things.
Sure.
However, it's also things we already know were going to happen.
Assume. We're getting confirmation, okay?
We're getting confirmation, and Nynaeve is learning a lot.
Yeah, like a third of the Wheel of Time is literally people getting the information that we already know.
We already have, I know.
We have it, but they're getting it. We need to see that on paper.
No, I know. I like it. I like what happened. And
okay, well, because you're coming off pretty negative right now. So
oh, I'm sorry.
I don't know.
I wanted to say I do like it. It's how I thought it would go.
Okay.
That's all.
Well, what would you like to... Okay, so when Rand
Chapter
walks in here...
Chapter symbol's the dragon, by the way, in case you missed that.
We can do something fun. What kind of jammies do you think Rand wears that he comes out in for this meeting?
Silk.
Really?
Silk jammies with a... What's it called when you get your little initials?
Oh, yeah.
Monochromed or something?
Yeah.
What is
like
it?
Engraved, but like not that?
Nah, embroidered.
Embroidered? Okay, yeah.
But it has a name.
Yeah, for like your...
Yeah, it says DR.
Okay. Oh, for Dragon... Not even Randall Thor.
No,
DR.
no.
Yeah, Dragon
It just
Reborn.
says DR
okay.
on his jammies.
That's cool.
And his silk jammies.
I'm thinking matching big fluffy onesies with butt flaps for Min and Rand. That's what I do like to imagine him in here. So
yeah,
his hair's kind of like a mess.
A bit,
so,
yeah.
But he's still serious.
Okay, yeah, and he goes, "This better be important. I was sleeping."
Right.
And Nynaeve, whose perspective we're in, by the way, you jumped way ahead. You didn't let me say the chapter symbol.
Yeah.
You just jumped right in. You didn't.
Well, you were like ragging on this chapter, and I got to get into something interesting here.
I'm barely ragging on it.
Yeah,
I'm just saying. I'm giving my impressions.
Pretty harsh. Okay.
Okay, well, Nynaeve has come directly here with the boy.
Yeah, Curb.
Who last time we talked about his age.
Yeah.
And maybe younger than I initially thought.
Yeah, because you're like 15 or something. And I was like, I don't know, 8.
For like an apprentice. You said 18. I said 12.
No, I said 8, not 18.
8. You said 8.
Yeah.
You're right.
Or like
I
8
said
to 10.
15.
Yeah.
And then we settled on 12, but I'm going to say no, probably 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds pretty reasonable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Old enough to like do the work.
Sure.
But then young enough that he's still like, ooh, a young boy.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. So here's the scene. Nynaeve has come here with Curb. He's all wrapped up in air. And Rand is coming out from sleeping and says, "Who is this? Who is this boy that you have brought to me? This better be good, Nynaeve."
Yeah, yeah. And everybody's like pretty tired, so there is a little bit of snippiness back and forth.
Well, yeah, because Nynaeve weaves a ward against eavesdropping, and he's like, "You channeled? I didn't give you permission." And then she's like, don't be a butthead. I don't need your permission to channel.
Right, yeah. But he settles. He was like, okay.
Right.
Why am I here? What's happening?
Nynaeve is like, "This kid for sure knows where the king is, probably."
Yeah, definitely, probably. That was the plan all along. Mm-hmm. Excellent. Mm-hmm. Okay, that gets his attention.
And that gets Ron's attention.
Yeah, it's good.
It does. So then Nynaeve has to tell him that she found the kid in the dungeon, and then he puts together exactly what she's been up to tonight.
Yeah. And he doesn't like that because he is still kind of being a butthead here.
Well, he's like, why are you going off and doing things I didn't ask you to do?
Except he says it way meaner.
It's because I'm Nynaeve. And he's like, fair.
No, he's like, you know what you and Aes Sedai have in common with rats? Y'all don't, you're not where I want you to be. What are you doing?
What are you doing? Where you're not wanted, you asshole. And Nynaeve was like, fuck you.
Yeah.
That's actually how this goes.
But also, it's important because the kid probably poisoned Milsair and the other guy. So, like, let's do this. Let's do this thing.
Yes. Now, Nynaeve tells Rand that she found something in the kid's head, in his mind, when she delved him, and that we have confirmation from the jailer guy that the messenger also couldn't speak when he wanted to.
Yeah, Jorgen or whatever, Borgen, the jailer guy, yeah.
Yeah, and Rand is like, okay, that's compulsion.
I know it.
Grandel's one of the best at it, and this is for sure confirmation that I'm looking for.
Probably.
And maybe it's good enough to make me forget what you've been up to tonight.
Right. It's like, okay, let's all settle down here now.
Okay, so now it's time for Rand to interrogate this kid.
Yeah, this is pretty severe because
Rand scares him.
Well, it's very similar to what he said to Cadsuane about like, hey, do you believe that I can kill you if I just will it? It's like almost identical.
Well, that's his thing now. That's his speech.
It's a pretty good speech, and it's like it scared Cadsuane. So yeah, it worked on the 8-year-old boy.
Yeah, 10.
10-year-old boy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you believe I can kill you? If I simply said the word, your heart would stop beating. And he says, I can take your life or your soul.
Yeah.
And the kid's like,
Yeah.
Also, it's like a compelled kid, so there's that.
Mm-hmm.
He's not like a real kid. He's like, compelled fake kid right now.
Super compelled at this point.
Yeah. It's basically a puppet. So, like, I don't know how bad we have to feel for the kid at this point.
Well, I just wonder what circumstances he was in that this is the situation he's in.
Probably he was nearby.
Yeah. Well, then we have to feel bad for him.
Yeah, like, I don't assume that this was, like, some sort of dark friend kid.
Okay, but what if the kid showed up and was like, I'm a dark friend and want to help?
Yeah, then this kid deserves it.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
But I would say that the majority of Grandel's, what does she call them?
Pets.
Her pets?
Yeah.
Yeah, her, like, servants that she's compelled.
Yeah.
I would say most of them actually aren't even dark friends, right?
Probably.
They're just attractive people that she collects.
Yeah. And that's, like, the ones that she likes to keep nearby, at least. Like, I don't think that rule applies to the kid.
Right, because...
Let's not blame the kid for being a dark friend before,
so now we need to break... You're right. So
yeah.
Now we need to break this down just a little bit, because Grandel's one of the only Forsaken who doesn't have dark friend lackeys who she orders around that we've seen. Because we've seen Lanfear, Samael, Moghedien, Ishamael, all of them. We saw them giving orders to different dark friends. Masana and Semirog, they're all giving orders to dark friends.
Yeah.
Right? Grendel doesn't really necessarily do that. She just has everybody around her ridiculously compelled, so they all just do what she wants.
That's true, too.
So that's a little different.
I guess so.
In this situation.
I mean, arguably, Lanfear doesn't even really, because she was pretty disdainful towards the whole, like, ooh, dark friends.
Maybe
those
not. Yeah,
people
maybe
who
not
serve as Shamiel, and everyone else just kind of taking advantage of the situation.
That's true. Maybe not Lanfear. Okay, I was just listing others.
Yeah.
That probably
you got a good point, though. Like, Grendel, she just likes to overly compel people.
Right.
Yeah.
But anyway, you get what I'm saying. So that means I do feel bad for this kid then.
That's fair. That works.
But anyway, Rand commands this kid to speak after scaring him, and he can't. So Rand's like, yep, compulsion. I was right.
Yeah. And then we have a mission.
Okay.
We have a task, if you will.
Right, yeah. So Nynaeve, you have to unravel the compulsion so he can tell us what he knows.
Yeah.
And Nynaeve is like, wow, that's a crazy thing to ask of me right now, like this right here.
Yeah.
It's not like, okay, we're going to hold him here. You can go get some sleep.
Yeah, and we'll do it
in the morning.
No, doesn't matter. Let's do it now. And it's actually pretty straightforward. Like, from what Rand says, he's like, hey, it's like healing, just...
backwards.
Well, here's the thing. You got to put the weave down, then you flip it and reverse it.
You really do that.
Yeah.
You're for friend, yep.
It's good. There you go. And that's how you do it. That's how you unweave compulsion. Figure it out.
You Missy Elliott it. That is what you do.
Okay, we got it. We got there. See, I knew there was a Missy Elliott joke in here somewhere.
You know what? It's only been 5 years.
It's good. It's still relevant.
Almost
right?
Oh, always relevant.
Okay,
yeah, I like
okay.
it.
So then Nynaeve's like, well, okay, so if I don't do it, he's literally just going to go get somebody else to do it. And who else is there?
And no one else can do this.
No.
Like I can, because I'm Nynaeve.
Yeah, and, she does buckle down, and then she works on it for, like, an hour.
Oh, yeah, she does.
Yeah, it's a whole thing.
And she really does figure it out, and she finds it so fulfilling, and it's really tiring, but it's a very almost noble thing to be doing, because she thinks that she's saving this boy from a Forsaken's compulsion.
In a lot of ways, it is kind of interesting, because she describes it as she can see the weaves on the brain like tiny hooks that are digging in.
Yeah.
So when she's, like, taking them off, she can kind of, like, see that. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and it gives some insight into what Varen was doing.
Yeah, right, with the garbage weaves.
With the knots, because she was tying knots on the brain.
Yeah.
But it wasn't exactly like digging hooks into the brain.
Yeah, it's the more advanced.
And that's probably why Elza's compulsion was lifted a little more easily than something like this.
Right.
Because Elza's garbage knots, we just picked him up and threw him in the garbage.
Right.
These
ones, not so much.
I got a fishing hook one time lodged under one of my nails.
Ooh, yeah, okay.
And, like, that hurts to take out.
So, like that, but in your brain.
Yeah.
So.
I can understand why that would affect the brain.
So she does it, and she works through the layers of compulsion, and it's kind of interesting that it's, like, layered
like
as a thing.
Net, almost, like laid on top of each other.
You gotta take the pieces away.
Yeah.
And then they puff away and vanish, and then poof, she does it after like an hour, and Rand's right, and it's amazing. And also, how does he know everything that he knows, and who's in that brain? Is it Rand or Lews Therin?
Right about Lews Therin?
Oh man, there's a whole lot of other thoughts about that too. But we do it. She does it. She does do it.
And now she's tired. And we also kind of barely didn't mention that Min also dragged her feet out here.
She is here. And now she's asleep.
Typical Min.
At least this wasn't in the middle of a meeting. Like, they have just been sitting and watching for an hour.
Curl up on Rand in the middle of a meeting.
No, she's
she's
beside
like using the pillow of the bench. She just like went back to sleep. I was like, just go back to bed. Just go back to bed.
Yeah.
Whatever.
So tired.
Like, what are you missing? Nothing.
She doesn't want to be away from Rand.
Ugh. Okay.
You just hate love, okay? That's it.
Yeah, that sounds about right. That's me. That's what I say all the time.
Uh-huh. So anyways, Rand did not fall asleep.
No, he watched the whole time.
Oh, yeah. Now, this is actually like a pretty big scene, too. I really like the writing in this chapter for how Rand deals with this boy, where he almost like levels with the kid who, like, the remnants of whatever is left inside this shell of a person.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, hey, I need a name. Where is she? Like, give me a location. Give me something, earbud.
Yeah, because he lifts the boy's chin, like grabs his face.
Yeah.
And Nynaeve realizes that Kerb's face is oddly blank. And then drool starts coming out of his mouth.
And then she's like, oh, this reminds me of a time I saw that lady who fell out of a wagon.
Oh, and bonked her head real hard,
and then
then she died.
And then she died.
Right. Except that Nynaeve automatically assumes that Rand is like doing this to him.
Yeah, she's pretty aggressive right now, which
and
I might,
like, Rand, stop it. What are you doing to him?
Yeah.
And Rand's like, nothing. I didn't do this.
Yeah.
You did it, actually.
If anything, you undid the compulsion. Grandal did the compulsion.
Yeah. If anything, Rand is completely not at fault for this.
Yeah, I mean, mostly not at fault. I don't know why we would blame him for anything.
Yeah.
But also, he's seen what Grendel does, and this
is
what he does.
Grendel does this to people by filling their mind completely and wiping out everything else, leaving a puppet behind. Seen it dozens of times.
It's like, whoa, okay.
And Nynaeve is like, what? And then I feel kind of bad for Nynaeve because she was like, oh, I did such a good thing. I love healing and helping people. And this poor boy, I really helped him. And then it's like, wait a minute.
But did you?
No, I didn't.
Well, I mean, maybe I could put a little bit. So Rand was a little bit deceptive here.
Yes.
At least a little bit, because he didn't say, hey, this kid's basically dead already.
No.
And we just need to take the,
That's true. But maybe Rand was thinking, Nynaeve is good at what she does in terms of healing, and if anybody can figure out how to fix this, it's Nynaeve.
That's true.
Because Nynaeve even thought to herself when she was given this impossible task.
Yeah.
She was like, oh my gosh, how am I going to do this? And she gives herself a pep talk.
And then she does it,
and
yeah.
And she's like, I helped cleanse Sidene. I healed Stilling and Gentling. I discovered a new, better way to heal. I'm the best. Let's do it.
Yeah.
And she's right. And so maybe Rand almost was hopeful that Nynaeve could do it better.
And, like, you don't necessarily want to tell her that ahead of time. Like, hey, this might kill him. If you do a good enough job, you might save him. Like, that's a lot of pressure.
That's too much pressure.
And that's not going to help.
Yeah.
So, you know, I like that. I like that, too.
Yeah, it's not good for Nynaeve.
For sure.
This is sad for her.
It's also really assuming Rand has the best of intentions here.
Oh.
When in reality, he just needs a location.
And also, he might have been hopeful that if Nynaeve could do it well, then we'd get even more information from this boy.
That's true. That's true. That's a good point, too.
And he doesn't want to leave a wake of destruction in his path. And if we can save anybody, like, he's for it. He's not against saving people.
Sure.
He's just not about feeling guilty about the people who don't make it.
Well, we'll get to that. We'll get to that in a second here.
Yeah.
So, compulsion is lifted. Rand is trying to level with this kid, and he says, hey, I need a location, something. If there's any part of you inside here that resisted Grendel, like that fought against her, I promise I will get revenge for you, but I just need a location. Where is she?
Yeah. And then finally, the boy shivers and says something about...
Yeah, so Natrin's Barrow.
Natrin's Barrow.
Yeah,
That's
Natrin's
what
Barrow.
that says.
So it's a location. We don't know anything about this yet. It's just we know this is the name of a location.
Natrin's Barrow.
Yeah,
okay.
It's a place.
It's a place.
So.
And then Rand breathes out, and then Curb just like dies.
Basically dies.
Yeah.
And like slides off the bench or whatever.
And Nynaeve says again, "What did you do?"
Yeah.
And Rand cuts her off, and it's like, "I did nothing. I told you already."
We've been over this.
Yeah.
The only thing keeping him alive right now is his anger towards Grendel, and then you took the compulsion away.
Which is exactly why we should feel bad for him, I think. And it clarifies that he wasn't like a kid of a dark friend who was like indoctrinated.
Yeah, and like maybe he could be indoctrinated. He could be a dark friend and then still be angry at Grendel for
not really
compelling him.
No, I don't think so.
Okay, okay. So we're going like this was a good guy kid.
Yeah.
Bad situation.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll get vengeance. Through Rand.
Yes.
There you go. That's the only thing he could do. And then he died.
Right. But Nynaeve doesn't really accept this explanation. She doesn't like it. And Rand's like, the wheel weaves, bro.
Yeah, it's like that thing
Nynaeve
that you say.
Is like, nope.
Yeah.
Not good enough. Not an excuse for your actions. And Rand's like, what actions? You brought him to me. Grendel used compulsion on him. And now I'll kill her for that.
Yeah,
that's
my
action.
That's the action I'm gonna do.
Now let me go back to sleep. It's late.
And then it gets worse. So, like, Nynaeve's really headstrong and dogpiling on Rand here, and it's not great because he does have a lot of... It's just not going the way she thought it was gonna go.
We have a verb for this.
What?
We have a verb for this? When you just don't let things go, and you just, like, keep pestering people about something?
What is it?
It's called Nynaeving.
Oh.
I just made it up right now. It's a
there's probably actually a word for it.
To Nynaeve.
Yeah. Don't Nynaeve at me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't Nynaeve me.
Don't Nynaeve me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stop Nynaeving.
Okay. I like it.
Mm-hmm. But she wouldn't be Nynaeve if she didn't do this. And I actually like this. I like her in this role for Rand.
Sure.
Actually.
Why?
As Rand says... In a moment, he likes that he can sort of trust her because she legitimately cares for him.
That's true too. Yeah. But I mean, he has to explain himself a lot to her, so that's frustrating for him.
She needs that though. She needs the explanation to be able to rationalize what's going on around her.
Right.
Because of her high-functioning anxiety.
Right.
Yeah.
But who's asking what Rand needs?
No one cares about that.
Right.
Okay, so...
I think Rand cares about that.
Nynaeve says, don't you feel any guilt at all? And Rand says, should I suffer for all of them? How many stones can you pile on a man's body before the weight stops mattering? And another analogy after that.
Yeah, that was the first one. That was like a shortened form, too.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, should I let myself feel guilt for this boy? I'm gonna have to feel guilt for everybody else.
Right. Yeah. Like
and
if I do
crush me.
exactly.
It would crush me.
And like
for
of all
everything
people,
I've
this
ever
kid,
done.
yeah, is not someone who he necessarily even has to feel guilt for.
Yeah.
He's very adjacent to this entire situation here.
Yeah, and then Rand's speech makes Nynaeve sad. And it's like, oh, Rand, what you've become, the heart without any emotion but anger, it'll destroy you.
Yeah.
And Rand here shows a surprising amount of insight. And Nynaeve is like, oh,
Shocked.
he does know. Weird.
Yeah.
It is like he's self-reflective, but it doesn't change what he's doing.
Well, it's like it's different than her
Weird.
opinion.
Exactly.
So therefore it must be wrong.
Yeah.
Because it's like, okay, so I'm trying to figure out why everybody thinks I'm too dense to see that. Yeah,
is,
like I know, I
thinking
get it.
I'm so dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll destroy me, but that's okay.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the point. And then there's a story, and I do want to talk about the story.
Ooh,
it's just like, for the record, it's story time, because when Rand was younger, Tam told him a story about Dragonmount, and at this point, Rand didn't know that Tam had actually been there and found Rand on the slopes.
Yeah.
But Tam tells a story about how nobody's ever climbed to the peak of Dragonmount, and it's not because it's impossible, but it's because reaching the top is going to take everything that you need, like everything you got, every ounce of strength, and it's so tall that besting it means that you're not going to have any energy or supplies or leftovers for the way down. So it's basically a one-way trip. And Nynaeve doesn't understand this metaphor at the beginning. Like, she doesn't understand the story or the point Rand is trying to make.
No, it's basically like you get up there, but then you can't make it down to tell anybody about what you saw.
Well, yeah, and he's saying, like, hey, it's a one-way journey, so mountaineers will put it off and off and off forever, basically, because it's going to be the last trip they ever make, because you're going to die at the end. And it's the metaphor for Rand saying, my journey is to get to the top of the mountain and face the sun, and that's it. I'm not looking for a way out. And I have a Lord of the Rings reference, just like a little one-to-one comparison here, and I have to do it because these guys are my boys.
Because you have to.
Have to. It's like very similar to Frodo and Sam on their journey, because the entire time on their journey, you know, because it's Frodo and Sam, basically go off alone.
Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm, sure.
Sam has been portioning out their food supply, and he's measuring for their journey home after they make it to Mount Doom and destroy the ring, and he's trying to ration the supplies to get home afterwards to back to the Shire. And then Frodo tells him, I don't think there's going to be a journey home, because like climb the mountain is going to take everything they have, and it's going to be the death of them at the end. And it's very sad, and that's kind of what Rand is doing right now. He's no longer portioning for the return home trip. He's just worried about making it to the end.
Yeah.
And it's sad.
It's the hero's journey, man.
I mean, except that the hero's journey sometimes has the return trip.
Sometimes,
you know, that's part of the...
I don't like when it does.
Yeah, I know you don't.
I'm very adamant about that.
That's because you're emotionless and you're cold.
Well,
and you hate love.
Since we're taking a shot anyway, my Harry Potter journey ended upsettingly.
Yeah.
I was upset.
Yeah.
All through high school, we had bets about whether or not Harry Potter was going to die.
Sure.
At the end of the book series. And I was very adamant that he had to.
Right.
He has to.
Yeah.
He can't face, the greatest Dark Lord ever in the whole world.
And was he, though? Because,
well,
you know.
Anyway, can't face him and destroy him and then go off and, work. You know?
Yeah, he just got a job. What do you do after?
It feels stupid.
Sure.
It feels dumb. I just didn't like it. And
what's Rand gonna do? Is he gonna go be a farmer?
I still feel that way about these types of journeys.
Well, you know what Rand does after the last battle? You know what Rand does? Starts a podcast, and then, he does, public speeches, and he writes books about it. Yeah. And he makes his money that way. There you go.
I don't know. It would be like if he just goes off to, I don't know, be some battle commander or something.
Like Rand?
Yeah, like Rand. After. Okay, guys, save the world. Just gonna go, do a job that, people know me and stuff.
Yeah.
It just feels so
maybe he's gonna, buy an ice cream truck and just,
Oh, a taco truck or something?
Isn't that what Ron did?
Taco truck?
No, ice cream truck, yeah.
What? What are you talking about?
I'm pretty sure that happened. The Harry Potter guy, the guy who plays Ron, pretty sure that guy, bought an ice cream truck.
Yeah,
he, bought an ice cream truck and then just, gives out free ice cream.
I didn't know about that. That's just an actor, though. That's different. This is the story. This is a fictional story.
Is it, though?
That's a real person who played a fictional character.
I am really having crossovers right now. I can't tell what's what.
Okay, you have to go get the shot, though, because you brought it up.
I brought it up. That's fair. Okay.
And I did an extension.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess that's fair. But I want to say prophecy. What's the thing I do? Predictions.
Right.
My prediction is that...
The brain is struggling tonight.
I haven't even done the shot yet. No. My prediction is I need Rand to die.
Yeah, no, I think you've pretty much been on board that the whole time.
Since the beginning. It's just my philosophy for all fantasy.
Cool.
Cheers.
Yeah, okay.
To that. All right. Well, after Nynaeve hears the story, like you said, she doesn't exactly get it. And she's like, that's just a story. And Rand's like, yeah, that's what I am. I am a story. I am a legend.
Yeah. And he's not wrong. Like, he is. Like, the Dragon Reborn is that.
The DR embroidered
on my pajamas.
On my pajamas.
You see this butt flap? You see this embroidery? Walking legend. But he's got a point, because it's like, hey, I'm not trying to worry about what happens after the last battle. That's everybody else's problem. I'm not holding anything back.
Like, I used to care.
Yeah.
Trying to leave something behind, but now I've realized I have too much to do before it happens to care about what happens after.
Well, it's like he literally just needs to get across the finish line here, and that's the goal. That's what we are left with at this point. And you know what? It's a little bit sad.
And also not get captured again, you know?
Yeah, that's part of the way. It's part of getting across the finish line here. Yeah. So.
And then Nynaeve is trying to be like, we'll win and keep you alive. We'll
like,
find a way.
The point is, we're not worried about that anymore.
Well, and he sort of says, no, don't tempt me. Like, I've acknowledged that this is what I have to do, and if you give me hope, that's bad for me.
Right, yeah.
And he goes, I'll climb the stupid mountain, and I'll face the stupid sun.
Yeah.
And I'll just die for everybody, and everyone can just deal with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You deal with it, you deal with everything else after. I don't want to hear about it, no more. And stop arguing with me.
And I have to commend Rand, because he does give Nynaeve what she needs.
Okay.
He gives her some praise.
That's true.
He says, I do trust you. You did well tonight.
Yeah.
And I appreciate, like, you being here, basically.
Yeah, because I think we talked about this, but he points out the difference between her and Cadsuane is that Nynaeve actually cares about him.
Yeah.
So.
Now, Min is still sleeping on the bench. She didn't wake up through any of this. So Rand picks her up.
They're loud whispering.
Yeah, sure.
I really appreciate you. And what you've done.
Yeah. So he scoops Min up and then says, we'll deal with the Shanshan first, and I'll take care of Grendel soon after that.
Yeah. All right, that's the plan.
And then we're going to finish the chapter with Nynaeve thinking that Rand is still a woolhead, but surprisingly self-aware? Question mark?
Yeah, but why doesn't he understand that there's always hope?
Because he's not letting himself get there.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, okay.
But she also knows she couldn't come up with any arguments to what he was saying.
That's true. Okay,
I do like this pairing at this point in time.
Like Rand and Nynaeve?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a full circle thing, too. Like, all the way back around from leaving Emond's Field.
Because when Rand is saying things and Nynaeve wants to counter them, it's not purely for her own gain. You know, it's just that she generally and genuinely cares for him.
Yeah.
And so there's this piece that Cadsuane didn't have, and I think that that's what Rand was saying, and I get it.
Yeah. No, it's good. I like the pairing, too. I like it. I like Rand and Nynaeve together. It works.
It does, weirdly. Yeah. I probably wouldn't have predicted that, but I get it.
Like, from where we left in.
Yeah,
book 1 to now.
Oh, yeah,
it's like they both come a long way.
Well, Rand has.
I mean, Nynaeve's come pretty far, too.
She has.
Okay?
Yeah, she still keeps a lot of herself, though.
She does.
Which is good. And she's using it in the right way at this point.
Okay.
I think.
Fair enough.
In this scenario, it's kind of like Egwene. Hasn't changed all that much, but now she's in a scenario where what she's doing is great.
Yeah, like who she is. She's in the groove where it fits and it works.
Exactly.
Yeah, versus where it hasn't before.
Right. And that's kind of where I feel like Nynaeve here, this type of personality, it fits in this position.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, she cares about him, but she can be aggressive towards him, and he doesn't completely lose it on her.
Exactly.
Because he knows that she does care.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. That's good.
Now we just have to deal with this land situation, but
yeah.
I guess we'll figure that out eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Okay. Well, because that's where this chapter ends.
Right.
And let's take a really quick break before we jump into the next one.
Okay.
Okay, so we're back, and we're going to jump into chapter 34, called Legends, and our chapter symbol is the 5 dice because we're in Matt's perspective.
Yeah.
And apparently, we're going to rewind
a little bit.
Because we are absolutely not in Camelin or any city even remotely resembling Camelin.
Yeah, but this is the chapter that ties where we were last with Matt to where we saw Matt when we were with Rand
and
or whatever.
And by the end, we're like, oh, that's how we get to Camelin.
Exactly. It makes sense. Yeah. Makes sense. And you know the nice part? It all happens in one chapter. It's not dragged out for like 5 or 6 chapters.
You know what? I can appreciate that for sure.
You're welcome.
You know I can appreciate a nice sped up storyline.
Yeah. So. And I will say, so there is some...
butting heads.
Yeah, disagreement within the community.
Disagreement?
Yeah.
Okay.
About people's opinions on this first part of the chapter, where Matt, I think it's a great comedic bit here. Some people hate it. I personally love it. But Matt is basically making these big elaborate story and like he's giving background information for everybody.
I like it.
I think it's fantastic. Some people think that it's terrible and that it's...
I think it goes on a little long.
It goes on pretty long.
For the bit to work, it has to go on long in this sort of written form.
And we're packed with dry humor. Yeah. And like the guys just messing with them.
I can picture this entire scene being like, I don't know, quick and... you can see everybody's reaction to it if you're like watching a show.
Yeah, like watching it would happen so much faster.
But written out,
it's like
really
8 pages.
Drags on.
It's so long.
I do have to thank you for not putting this chapter by itself.
For sure, yeah.
Because although interesting reveal,
it's a pretty long chapter, but like not a lot actually happens.
Really, not much. Yeah.
So let's get into it. But I just want to throw it out there that I know some people like absolutely hate it and don't think that it's very like Matt.
Well,
but
it's not really.
It is a little bit though.
Okay.
Matt's done the elaborate backstories. That's why he was in the circus, and he's like, "Oh, I'm the lost. I'm saving Aegean." And
however, how this isn't Matt is we've never really seen all the behind the scenes before.
That's fair too.
We've seen his elaborate backstory of how he's this, and Aegeanen's wearing a wig, and this, and it sort of is rather quickly explained to us.
Yeah.
That he has come up with this backstory.
And now we're getting like pages, like scripts being handed out. It's so funny.
And yeah, I like it, especially because we don't get the plan later, which obviously we're about to get into, but the fact that we don't get the plan that actually comes to fruition makes this part bearable.
Exactly, because we don't have to spend a lot of time figuring out
we don't have to then go
what are these
watch
backstories.
It happen. Because mostly with Matt in the past, we've watched it happen. It plays out, and we just sort of get what the plan is as it's happening.
Yeah.
Here, he's planned ahead of time, and it's not gonna happen.
Yeah, now we gotta set the scene here because we are in Matt's head, but Matt's like rolling up maps of the Trustair town,
which is
city.
Where the alleged person is who's handing out pictures of him and Perrin's face.
Yeah. And the reason why he wants to do this big elaborate plan is because he doesn't want another like Hinderstop situation.
Where he's not prepared.
Yeah, he wants to be overly prepared because he's like, oh, every time I'm going in unprepared and I'm getting caught off guard and it sucks.
Overly prepared.
So now I'm going to go and then none of it gets used, which is hilarious.
I know. And I think that's why we get this
He stays up all night and it's great. And then he also has like the plan to launch the different colored night flowers into the air, and he's got his troops lined up, and he's like, hey, if it's a red one, go here. If it's green, go there.
We've seen this before.
That's true.
Here's the difference. We've seen it in action.
Because it was happening.
Whenever we've seen Matt before, he's in action.
Right.
He's in the middle of his battle plan.
It's like, there's a red one, that means this. Yeah.
We don't get the before where we've all learned what that means.
Yeah.
And have it written out for us.
Yes.
Right.
And now Tom's like, hey, I think we're doing a bit too much here. And Matt's like, no, not enough.
And I like how seriously some of them take their roles.
Man, Devlin, it's so good. It's such great dry comedy.
You don't have a great aunt.
Yeah, and he's like, but I don't want to be the...
It's not very honorable of me to leave my great aunt behind.
And he's like, she's
it's
not
so
real.
Elaborate. It's
so funny.
So elaborate.
So funny.
All of these backstories are pretty funny.
And it's like the delivery that has to happen with these guys. Like, I could definitely see this like on screen being fantastic.
It's funny.
It's good. It's funny. Yeah. It's good. And also, as a side note, so Fenn, the warder, who like let the girls go in quotes because they vanished, right, from Hinderstap,
yeah.
right, that whole thing. Matt didn't tell Fenn what actually happened, and now Fenn feels bad about letting them go, and is like, "Hey, you can use my cloak, my warder cloak, for this plan."
Because who has to pretend to be a warder?
I think Talmanis is supposed to be like the decoy.
And then the other guy's like, warder. Next time I want to be the warder.
Yeah. It's good. Anyways, so that covers...
They should start a theater company.
They could. They could do that if they want to. Mm-hmm. If this stuff all goes sideways, that's what's next.
Right.
Okay. And I think that pretty much covers like the first 6 pages of this chapter.
Yeah.
It gets all like stories and backstories. And then the next 6 pages are Matt inspecting his soldiers.
Yep.
And nothing has really changed.
Yeah.
We've got cavalry. We've got crossbowmen.
It's just a recap. It's recap.
It is a recap.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're training. The crossbowmen are like shooting into the forest, doing their training stuff.
That's true.
And he's like, I want these to be faster.
Faster and better.
Faster and better.
Because it sounds like the rest of the world is soon going to get these.
Well, Matt thinks that because they bought the thing off the guy.
If Matt is thinking it, that means he's thinking ahead.
Yeah.
And that means he's going to get the advantage no matter what.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying it's like the rest of the world, like, okay, like, let's pump the brakes on that.
Like a couple cities around.
We only need to be worried about the Shanshan getting it.
But the guy said he was going to Camelin to sell them.
Okay. So okay. Well, there you go. And that's the next 6 pages.
Okay.
There you go.
That's fair.
Yeah.
And now it's time to go check on Aludra.
Yeah. Because that's where that's the important bit, I guess. The first part of the important bit?
I mean, when I zoned out while I was listening to the audio, because that happens to me.
Right.
Is I come back and I'm like, what just happened? And I have to back up.
Right.
Right. And then I read the chapter for anything that I potentially missed.
Yeah, that's fair.
While I was listening, because my audio comprehension isn't as great as my visual comprehension.
I do that when I read, though. Sometimes I'll like read an entire page and then be like, I don't even know what I just read, and I have to go back and reread the entire page.
Yeah, because my visual processing speed is better than my audio processing.
Okay.
But you might be opposite of that.
Yeah, I like zone out pretty hard when I'm reading sometimes, thinking about other things.
Because I zone out when I'm listening.
Okay.
Huh.
Good to know.
How about that?
Yep. Anyways, Aludra.
Yeah. But what I was going to say, the first little bit, even when I zoned out and came back, I didn't even back up. It's like I didn't even miss any. It didn't even matter what I missed.
Like, no, we're still here.
We're still here. It wasn't important. It didn't matter that much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, it wasn't vital where I'm like, what's going on? Because sometimes that 100% happens.
What about, I got
like when Nynaeve was going into that cellar.
Yeah.
Like that whole situation, I backed up probably 7 different times.
For sure.
Because I was like, wait, where are we? What's going on? Who's that?
I have one new piece of information that I don't think we've heard before. The horses are not eating certain patches of grass.
Oh, because they've gone bad.
Because they've gone bad. Just like the food is also going bad. Now the horses and some of the grass is going bad.
And you know what we didn't talk about? In the last chapter, the tea spoiled. Right when Nynaeve noticed Rand had a dark aura around him.
Shoot.
So that's bad.
Right.
And I actually am on board with agreeing that that's bad.
Okay, well, at least we got you there.
I think there's something wrong with this aura of Rand's.
It's bad.
It's not good.
Okay.
Yeah, not good.
Okay.
But poor horsies, the grass has turned.
It's not even, exactly.
Ugh.
Okay.
Everybody's suffering.
Now can we talk about Aludra and what's happening here?
Yep.
Okay. So we got Bail Damon's on guard duty.
Okay.
And Matt's not allowed to come into Aludra's little section of the camp.
And Matt's like, it's my bloody camp.
But also he can't offend Aludra because he needs her and the dragons.
And she doesn't have her hair in braids anymore. And Matt thinks she's pretty. But
Whoa.
He's married.
Yeah, don't even. But she is pretty.
Yeah.
But don't.
And they made out a couple times before, so.
Yeah, but just like don't though.
Okay, fine.
He's married.
I like Matt and Aludra.
I do too.
That's a pairing I like.
But he's married
to somebody else.
Yeah, right. Who's not here right now.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyways.
So don't look southward, hoping that she's okay.
I guess so.
Yeah.
Okay, so Aginan's here. Also, he's having issues with the whole Violin thing with the name change.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually kind of understand where he's coming from a little bit on this because
he's like, Tuon's not even here anymore.
Well,
Why are you still dealing with this?
Tuon did the name change, and then he maybe was under the assumption like, oh, like you just don't want to piss off Tuon more, but like now she's not here, so why are we sticking with it? But then like, also, if you want to abandon the Shanshan ways, why are you still sticking to the Shanshan ways from like Tuon, who's Shanshan?
Honestly,
what's happening here?
Part, yeah.
Like, if you want to change your name, change it. But like, why are you accepting the name change from someone who is not your like ruler anymore?
Yeah.
Like, what's the disconnect?
Yeah, you're
here?
abandoning the Shanshan. You should also abandon their stupid honor ways.
And that kind of goes into like, because he does question her later on in this chapter, like, hey, you can't go running back to the Shanshan and like spoiling all of our secrets here. And she's like, I would never. It's like, I don't understand this relationship. I don't know.
I don't know that you would never, though. I don't know that about you.
So it's like he doesn't know.
You're kind of a bitch. I don't really get it.
Yeah,
right?
it's like it's a super weird like dynamic, and it's not full, and nobody's explaining it to him. But that's fine.
Yeah.
So, anyways, they're all here. Aginan is helping Aludra banging away on the fireworks with hammers or whatever.
Banging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's how you make him, I guess. I don't know. I don't know about fireworks.
I'm not too sure about that.
But this is the part when Matt goes in and then he sees the plans and all the numbers and the supplies and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because he sees some drawings spread out on the ground and the requirements of all the stuff they're going to need. And then this is when Matt's like, whoa, these are big numbers. You need so much stuff.
Yeah, like charcoal, sulfur, and backguano.
Yeah.
That's the explodey part.
And he's like, ugh, I didn't care about that.
Yeah. And then also the copper and the
tin.
There's no numbers beside them.
Just little stars.
Yeah, and that's important for later.
Yeah. And Aludra's like, yeah, you asked for a miracle. This is what I need for that.
Yeah. Like,
and then
these
Matt's
are the supplies.
like, these cost a lot.
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, but I'm assuming the Dragon Reborn can afford it.
Yeah. Now, it is actually kind of interesting, too, because there's the whole, like, magic versus science side of what she's doing. And when she's doing these supply lists, I can also understand where Matt's thinking, like, are these necessary or are these things that you want? Mm-hmm. Would it be nice to have? Or can we do with less? Yeah. But like this is more sciencey where it's like it doesn't work without these things. Yeah. We can't if we don't have this. It's called
chemical reactions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Science.
Mm-hmm.
So I understand where there is a disconnect between Matt and Aludra.
In Alberta, it's grade 5 science.
Oh.
Is our chemistry.
How to make explosives and cannons.
Honestly, yeah. I have a really, really great video from a website called Mystery Science.
Okay.
It's great. And it's all about how chemical reactions basically were discovered by alchemists who were trying to make gold.
Yeah.
And they discovered that the waste material, when they burned metals with acid, what's left over after the acid evaporates is this like white powder. And each one of those white powders from like copper, iron, different things, they all burn a different color.
Ah, cool.
So like copper burns green and I think iron burns either blue or red.
You're giving up all the fireworks secrets.
Yeah, they all burn different colors and that's how fireworks were invented.
Yeah.
In China.
You know, I've done a fireworks fun fact before.
Oh, well, that's how I teach it to children though.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Okay.
And also, when you throw those packs into campfires that change your campfire different colors, that's what's in them.
Yeah, that's cool.
It is pretty cool. It is pretty cool. And then in the end of that lesson, we make slime.
Cool.
Because we make rubber, like with latex and acid, latex is actually the sap of a tree.
Okay.
Like the rubber tree.
Yeah.
And latex tree. And then in the end, we make slime, and it's a chemical reaction, and it's fun.
Fun.
Because I'm a fun teacher.
There you go. Yeah. Fun teacher. Cool.
Where are we? Oh, science. More science.
Yeah.
I love science.
So,
this part's cool. I like science.
Matt's like, hey, that's a lot of stuff. And Luja's like, yeah, well, you want this. So, like, if you don't get this, then we don't have the thing that you want. And then Matt's like, hey, what about the copper and tin? Because, like, you don't have estimates for this stuff. And she's like, well, I need all of it. And Matt's like, what do you mean all of it? And she's
All
like,
of it.
literally all, like every of the thing, all of the thing, like every store.
Every scrap you can scrounge up.
Yeah.
I'll
like,
take it.
hey, you know those the major cities in the world? Camelin and
also
Kyrie and Ilion and
every
Tyr?
bell founder
Everyone.
that you can find.
Because
I
she already
need 'em.
promised that. She's like,
Yeah.
hey, I need every bell founder. And he's like, I can get you every bell founder from here to there. And she's like, okay. And
Yeah.
he was like, I didn't know you meant literally, but I guess so.
Oh, yeah.
But
Mhm.
it's like, hey, if you want
And then she
cannons.
goes, I guess from every metal store in Camelin, Kyrie, and Ilion and Tyr, I think that those will work.
if we do all those, like
Yeah.
then that might be enough. And that's like,
he's
okay.
from the 4 major cities in the world?
Yeah,
That'll
like
be
all
enough?
of them. Yeah, she's like, maybe.
So
maybe.
I guess copper and tin aren't available for anyone else for any other thing?
No, not right now anyways.
Okay.
Well, and that's kind of her point too. She's like, hey, when do you need this stuff by? Because Matt's like, I don't know, but soon. She's like, okay, so if the last battle's coming, you're going to have to make a bunch of other stuff then. So let's start working on these dragons now. Like, let's get the ball rolling. Let's do this thing because we need to.
Sure. No, I like that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. So after a bit more back and forth, Matt is like trying to apologize because he was being super dismissive and annoying everybody like normal.
Yeah.
And Aludra tells him that they need all of this stuff.
Yeah, this is it. This is what I need.
This is it.
And it's still, even with all the stuff, it's going to take weeks to actually like test these because we have to make one before we can make many to actually see if they work. So like we gotta get going here.
Okay. And then Matt tells her that time is short and they need them soon. But Matt does feel a bit of a strange tugging northward and he thinks that it's Rand.
Yeah,
So
that makes
that's
sense.
kind of an important part to think about.
Yeah, you know, it's the last battle.
And he gets some color swirling in his head.
He shoves it
But
away.
he shoves it away, no picture.
Yeah, not doing that.
And I'm annoyed. I'm like, show me.
Yeah,
But that's okay, because we know we're kind of back in time from where Rand saw Matt, so
right.
we can assume what Rand was doing. And it was Min.
Yeah, nice.
No,
okay.
Thank you. Yes,
That's
thank
good.
you.
Good execution there.
I'm here all week. Okay.
Ah.
Now, after a little bit more of a back and forth, Matt's trying to be sincere, but he's kind of pissing off Lylewyn.
and Daman.
And Daman.
Like, pissing off Lylewyn pisses off Daman.
Well, no. It's more like Daman gives him a warning,
Right.
because I wanted to talk about this.
Oh, okay.
This was the thing I had to look up.
Oh, okay.
So, Daman specifically says, you're swimming in deep water with lionfish, and you should stop splashing so loudly.
Ooh, okay.
Which I had to look up because, you know, our pal Tyler
Right.
had a lot to say about lionfish.
Yeah.
And about how you can't just replace the word lion with lionfish when you're swan saunching. And
like for the metaphors, right?
I have a couple things to rebut about that.
Okay.
Because the whole idea about lions being the top of the food chain, and that's why the metaphors are the way they are, works with lionfish as well.
I feel like we did this already.
I know.
I feel like we had this conversation.
But I needed to look it up again because this isn't a Swan Sanche
Okay.
reference.
Okay.
This is just Bail Doman saying things about you're swimming with lionfish, which are kind of scary.
Yeah.
Right? So,
Give me some fun facts. Here we go.
I am going to give you fun facts because, you know, I've been on the TikTok and every
That's
once
where the
in a
kids
while,
are these days, I hear.
it's showing me this one diver whose job it is to go and hunt lionfish.
Oh, yeah, you showed me that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did show me this one. Okay.
Okay, so lionfish are native to the Indian and Pacific Oceans and the Red Sea. However, around the 1980s, they started being spotted in the Atlantic coast off of Florida.
Okay.
And that's bad because they're an invasive species.
Oh, okay.
They are the perfect invaders because they possess many qualities that have allowed them to establish themselves in areas they're not native to. Now, I don't remember if we actually talked about all of this before or not.
But if I don't remember it, it's new to me.
Yeah, and I really want to. So,
Okay.
lionfish are generalist predators, meaning they can prey on a wide variety of species. Invasive lionfish have no natural predators because they possess venomous spines that protect them from any potential predation. And they live in a wide range of temperatures, salinity levels, and depths. So basically, you gotta fish for them and you gotta kill them because
They're going to take over.
Oh, they certainly do.
Don't go splashing around. Okay.
Also, you can eat them. Lionfish are edible, and creating a demand for eating them can increase efforts of removing them from the reefs.
Okay, good to know.
That is from the Florida Museum from the University of Florida Education website.
Cool. All right. Go eat some lionfish.
You know what? I would.
I guess so. I don't know if I would. Like, I need more information about, like, what do they taste like?
This is about
what
enough.
Kind of fish are
this
they?
is about enough for me that I need this one website.
How much butter do you cook it in? I don't know.
Oh, probably. No, I don't know. Maybe. Or do you eat it raw? Is it sushi? Can it be sushi?
Maybe. Who's to say?
Okay. I mean, some people probably. But what I have to say is lionfish are scary predators, so...
And that's what
watch
Domin
out.
is warning him
And that's what
of.
Domin is saying.
Just cut it out.
You are pissing off predators.
Everybody.
You're pissing off everybody.
Yeah.
Stop splashing so loudly. That's right.
Okay, I'm going to get us back on track now because we're going to finish this chapter because Matt's doing all the wrong things. But before he leaves this section of the camp, he's like, hey, can I take these plans with me? Because if you're going to be banging on these fireworks, I don't want it blowing up and ruining the plans also. So Eludra says, yeah.
And Eludra's like, that's not how explosives work.
But like she does let him and then says, just keep it with your gold because I know you're going to like take care of your money. So that's fine. But anyways, this all gets interrupted because Oliver comes running up.
Matt.
That's exactly what it sounds like.
A lady's here to see you.
Yeah, tell Matt to send Oliver to get Matt and tell Matt that he thinks someone as important is here because this person showed up in camp, has pictures of Matt, and has a distinctive face, whatever that means.
And listen, can you open your book right now and read me the description of Oliver? It's one of the meanest I've read so far.
Oh, no. I don't know if I took that in very much. Okay.
Yeah. Because you know how he's super ugly?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
It's always mentioned.
We all know that.
This is
why you gotta keep talking about it.
The most that it's been mentioned, I think.
Someone's come to the camp, Oliver said, excitement painting his features, and those features were a sight. Ears that were too big for his head, nose that was squashed down, mouth that was too wide. On a child his age, the ugliness was endearing. He'd have no such luck when he grew older. Maybe the men in camp were right to be teaching him weapons. With a face like that, he'd better know how to defend himself.
What the
It's
fuck?
like, that's so...
That is awful. That's like worse than just like, that kid's kind of ugly.
He's like, he is so ugly.
Oh my god, he's so ugly.
Yeah.
Like, just like the ugliest that anyone's ever seen.
And you know, that's part of the reason why a lot of people were like, oh, Guidel Kane, super ugly.
Oh, well, like, yeah, I guess.
Right, but not how time works, so that's fine.
Yeah, I just picked that up more than anything.
Yeah, just super mean.
Yeah.
I'm going to write some of these down for some people. Those are good insults.
Oh, that's great.
Really great. I want to know this. I want to memorize that. Anyway, so there's someone here. Come on, Matt. And then there's a whole description.
It's a pudgy lady. It's a pudgy lady.
I'm pretty sure the description, like, there's gray in her hair.
Yeah.
Grandmotherly, brown dress, streaks of gray. Hey, there you go.
Yeah.
It's Varen.
It's Varen. Okay, so it's her who's been handing out pictures looking for Matt, and she's so annoyed that it's taken her so freaking long to find him.
Yeah. Well,
when
Matt's
was the
like...
last time we saw Varen? Varen was with Perrin, right? For a little bit?
No, Varen was in...
Where was Varen? Oh, she was in Kyrian doing all the compulsion weaves.
Yeah, but you're still missing where she was.
Oh.
So I looked it up a little bit because there's a couple things. That was a little bit longer ago.
Yep.
And then there was the cleansing that she took part in.
She was there.
Yeah.
At the cleansing.
Yes. And then Rand went off to the little house on the prairie.
Tyr.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there was that big gigantic attack on the manor house. With like 100,000 Trollocs and all that.
Yeah.
And then this scene kind of gets overshadowed because it's like in the Golden Crane chapter where Nynaeve takes Lan away.
Okay.
But Varen basically leaves there and gives Rand a letter that says, hey, I've pretty much done everything that I can here and I'm going now. And then he opens up the letter in that chapter too.
I don't remember this at all. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm glad you looked it up.
And she writes that she feels like Rand should be able to trust Cadsuane. Remember there was like scene between Varen and Cadsuane where it's like,
yes.
are we going to try to murder each other?
Okay,
or are we all kind of cool with how we feel about Rand?
Yes.
Like there was that whole thing. But she's like, hey, you can probably trust Cadsuane, but like don't trust anybody else. also not the ones who have sworn fealty to you, because, like,
Yeah.
that's not going to help if they're Black Aja and all
Yes,
that, because,
yeah.
like, it doesn't matter to them. So, anyways, so, like, she basically disappeared and was like, I'm going to go now. And that's basically the last time we saw her. That was in Knife of
And
Dreams.
she's traveled this way looking for Perrin and Matt.
Well, yeah, it kind of seems like she's not necessarily happy about what's going on here. So,
Okay, well, let's get back to what's happening this chapter.
Yeah.
Because she's clearly been looking for Perrin and Matt.
Well, yeah. And she's like, hey, a merchant told me an hour ago that they had a meeting with you and you paid him for some maps of this town. So I figured I'd just, like, spare your assault on the town and just come and meet you because that's what we're doing. So then Matt's like, oh, an hour ago, they're half a day out from the town.
Yeah.
She's like, you must have traveling. And she's like, yeah.
Yeah, I do. And then Varen says, and I'm guessing you're trying to get to Andor with this army, and I can have you there by tonight.
Perfect. There you go. And that's how we get there, probably.
Probably. Because we don't get there yet.
We don't, but, like, that makes sense. And at first, Matt's like, okay, that's good, because now we don't have to spend so many days traveling. Eluja can start making these dragons.
And then he goes, what do you want from me?
Yeah, like, clearly.
Why were you looking for me?
Yeah.
What do you want?
Well, and this is why I'm like, oh, she doesn't sound very happy, because she's like, what I want is I want to be free from your Taviran web. Do you know how long you've forced me to wait in these mountains? So, like, clearly there's some sort of, like, Taviran stuff going on.
What?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
So we gotta go talk about it.
Yeah.
So she rides into Matt's camp. We're going to get settled and maybe hear about what's going on.
Yeah,
or maybe
she
get to
says,
Camelin.
we have much to discuss.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't use that phrase enough.
We have much to discuss?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I need to say that more often.
Sure, go for it.
I'm going to say it all the time.
Yeah.
From now on.
I mean, you could.
Especially at JordanCon.
Yeah, I'm mostly just trying to figure out how to... What's a good, like, goodbye? Bye now. See you later. Okay, bye.
Ugh.
Ciao. I wish I was cool enough to say ciao or something like that, but I'm not.
No, you just don't say
Bye-bye.
goodbye. You hand a letter to someone and leave.
That's good, too.
You just leave in the night.
Mysterious, yeah.
And leave a letter behind.
I like that.
That's how you say goodbye.
Okay, I'm more thinking of, like, for work, like, on a phone call, like, what do you... Bye-bye. See ya.
Have a nice day.
Have a nice day. Okay. What if I don't want them to have a nice day?
You know what? When you're at work, it doesn't matter what you think. It doesn't matter what you want when you're at work.
Okay, bye now.
Yeah, honestly. I think you're thinking about this way too much. I don't think it matters.
Are we done
They've
here?
They've already hung up. It doesn't matter what you say. No one cares.
Oh, man. Okay. All right.
Yeah. That's where we're at.
Yeah, we're done now. So you get to read 2 chapters again. Yeah.
2 chapters, and we're off to JordanCon.
We are.
Technically, this episode comes out after JordanCon.
That's true.
So if we want to talk like we're from the future, like we could try. However, we're not. This is a rewind situation.
Okay. That'll be fun.
Yeah. I hope so.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, I'll get to read on our trip. Maybe as I'm traveling to JordanCon, I'll read the next 2 chapters.
That'd be cool.
That would be cool. Maybe we'll record the next 2 chapters at JordanCon.
I don't think so.
Oh, maybe.
I don't think so.
Oh, okay. Fine. Whatever. Definitely Q&A, though. We said we would do that.
Yeah, we already have a plan.
I hope that happened in the past.
Yeah, hopefully it went well. Who's to say?
Okay. So before you go ahead and learn that explosives are made from poop, I'm going to say that this is part of the pattern now.
Yeah, it's part of the pattern.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode. The Wheel Weaves is hosted and edited by Dani and Brett, produced by Dani and Brett with Passion Socks, Cody Feltz, Benjamin, Jamie Young, Megan, Jared Berg, Ricky Morissette, Lance Barden, Adam, Mozyme, Michelle Forbes, MKM, Antoine Benoit, Lawrence Bradley, Colby T, and Gabby Young. With music by Audionautics. Please be sure to check out our Patreon page if you are interested in supporting us and the podcast. We'd love to send you some Patreon exclusive merchandise as a thank you. Plus, you'll gain access to our episodes earlier than everyone else. And at the time of recording, we have over 45 bonus episodes for your listening pleasure. Find all that and more at patreon.com/thewheelweavespodcast. For general information about our show, like information on how to send us shot glasses, how to join our Discord, how to get in touch with us, you can visit thewheelweavespodcast.com. And as always, please be sure to give us that 5-star review because it really does make a huge difference in helping other people find us. And if you write us a really nice review and put your Instagram or Twitter handle in the review on Apple Podcasts, we will be picking people at random to be giving out some merchandise like stickers and bookmarks, and we'll send them out to those people as a huge thank you. Now be sure to tell a friend, Riyadh, because referrals really are the best compliment. Thanks again for listening. This really is part of the pattern now.